game, and Iona sure welcoming him back to their lineup. Moore, almost halfway down. 5-on-4 for the Gales. James. And Moore, the last one back, able to rebound.
And every possession feels like it's the last possession of the game right now. People are on the edge of their seats on each possession.
A rivalry game, and one that Iona has been used to playing. And we'll start to get used to it even further. McMillan sinks a corner two, and a quick Hofstra timeout, if for anything, just to relax.
And you know what I like about McMillan? His decision making. He caught the ball wide open on the three-point shot, knows he's not a great three-point shooter, but he takes it in for the extra step, and a great dish off by Mike Moore, drawing the defense and giving Hofstra to extend the lead. And Smythe is unconscious in the second half, knocking down threes. He has the answer for every Hofstra basket, and he can hit it from all over the court. And once again, Smythe, the recipient of the three-point shot.
He came in struggling a bit this season at just 32%. A known gunner around the MAC and along the East Coast. Initially brought in by Iona former coach Kevin Willard. He's got 12 points tonight and adds another dimension to this already well-rounded Gales team.
He really does, and he came out of a great high school in Don Bosco, and really in that Jersey League where you had the St. Anthony's and all those tough St. Benedict's teams and St. Patrick's, and when you play at that level, you're ready for this level.
Romo Jones, they look to re-enter to Glover. Jones, not there, came out. And it's last touch underneath by Ridley.
And a great defensive stop for Hofstra. Iona coming away with nothing, and now you have Jones and Machado back in the backcourt together.
Iona coming up with some token pressure. And here comes Machado back in the game with 5.5 left, playing with 4 fouls. So he sat nearly an even 10 minutes. McClendon into Ridley. Not there. Wakoni thought it would be off of Iona, and he did not go for it.
Well, you know, they always say if you have the opportunity to save the ball, you don't wait for the whistle to blow the whistle. You go out and you go get the basketball.
So Machado meeting McMillan again. Smythe got a great screen. And perhaps his legs, remember, he has not played in a game in 3 weeks.
Well, you know, we always talk about you got to be in shape and you got to be in basketball shape, and this is where basketball shape at this juncture of the game really starts to show. And you look at Mike Moore really doing a great job. He's kind of taken over that leadership role of the Charles Jenkins of last year in crunch games like this.
It is Moore with a path to the basket. It was stripped, and then Lester went up and was fouled.
Lester really making something happen underneath the basket, and he has taken it hard to the Gales all night long. Mike Moore splitting defenders, dishing on the inside, and Lester going up hard.
It was the second on Mike Glover. Nathaniel Lester, 16 points at Brooklyn's Canarsie over the Summers AAU circuit. Many of these guys, like Lester, are so familiar with one another. And Hofstra of Iona meeting annually, going back to the days of Tom Pecora and Kevin Willard. Jeff Ruland in Tom Pecora. As Kone returns, Wakoni will sing.
With all these New York kids out on the floor, you know, you start to think about how many times these kids faced each other in their lifetime, whether it was back in CYO days or even in high school.
Or in the case of Machado and McMillan here, one-time teammates. Glover, and that's Kone handing a free 2 points.
And here's where, as a freshman, Musa Kone's got to recognize when to go up for a block shot and when it's not going to be feasible. And sometimes you have to let it go.
18 for Glover. Iona showing full court pressure. Mike Moore forced to handle. Got it to McMillan. And both teams will settle as we creep towards 4 minutes to play here at Hofstra. Moore almost exhausted trying to go through a screen. At times trying to will his way through and get possession. Lester, how strong is he feeling? That's a 2.
How much does Lester remind you of opening night against LIU when he exploded?
Machado, backdoor Jones, hop step, another one.
And that's when you know you're a big-time player, when you can be so versatile to get inside and split defenders like he does.
Oh, and Jones contacting Moore, but Moore into a travel. So Iona has made it a single-digit game as we've hit the final media timeout. Nathaniel Lester keeping Hofstra ahead. He's got 20 points. A thrilling finish coming up on Verizon Fios One Sports. This second half is being brought to you by Watch ESPN. It's the ESPN networks live on your smartphone, tablet, and computer. Go to Verizon.com/Fios TV online for details. With Eva Zacharia and Scott Green, Ralph Bjorchik with you. The storylines continue to mount. The drama continues to build. Hofstra has a 9-point lead with 3:33 to play. They led by 15 at the half, but the Iona Gales have continued to stay close enough.
Oh, really? This has been a fantastic basketball game, and they have given the crowd a real treat prior to New Year's Eve. And this has been a great game, back and forth, and both teams have had answers. And you look at some great shooting. Nathaniel Lester, the question is, was it a 3 or was his foot on the line? And a great penetration here. McMillan finding Lester, and it's definitely a 2-pointer. It would have been a 3 in the girls' game, but in the men's game, it's a 2-pointer.
Yep. Brian Dorsey's crew getting the call right. And Scott, put yourself in Mo Cassara's shoes. What's the message here?
Well, you have to take care of the basketball. Every possession, you have to defend. You have to stop dribble penetration. You can't let Momo Jones and Scott Machado penetrate into the defense, and you want to allow them to use some clock. Clock is in your favor.
Smythe staying on the floor, has got 4 threes in the game as Machado met in a switch. Jones now hedging out inside. He went to Glover, and we have the ball kicked out of bounds. It'll stay with Iona.
And Mo Cassara did a great job changing up the defense, and he's hedging on the top part of the defense, and that's forcing them to take it to the outside.
22 to shoot here for the Gales. Smythe and Hofstra recognizing his abilities. Now it's Ridley. And we have a foul on the floor. That'll be a 1-and-1 coming for the Gales, Taj Ridley.
And David Imes stepped in and defended, and we're trying to see where maybe he got that foul, maybe a little bit with the body.
Ridley back to the free throw line. He's got a 6-point night. Not a great free throw shooter coming in. Good form there, 57%. And he is a wild card for this Iona team, joining the likes of Jones, Glover, Machado, and Smythe, known quantities, to try to find another big man.
Follow the free throw, look for Iona to try to get out full court, trying to trap in the backcourt.
Making 2. James back in for his defense. And again, the Gales will play it really small, putting on full court pressure.
And they're going to pick up in a face guard man-to-man, and they want to try to trap in the corner. They want to invite, and then they want to trap.
Moore able to break the timeline. Now he charges through, and the loose ball came right back to Moore. So Hofstra escapes on deflection, and Juan McMillan will settle and put on the brakes. Imes on the entry pass, and he was fouled by James, the much smaller man. That is a 1-and-1. And the 4th on James. 9th team foul, so Imes to the line.
And these become huge free throws for David Imes. He's really had one of the greatest nights he's had, and these free throws would just complement his evening.
David Imes, a 13-point night, and while it may not end up being a career high, certainly a game in which he was challenged and risen to the occasion. His season high is 15, also in a big stage against Oregon State. He's able to hit the second. And quickly Machado maneuvers into the front court. Glover got position on Imes and scores.
And he got the inside. He sealed him off to the inside and threw the little lob pass, and they score quick.
Oh, and Machado just fouled out with a lot of contact with McMillan. Now, McMillan and Machado have a rivalry that goes back. McMillan talked about it after the Colgate game, and Machado a bit undisciplined.
And Tim Klutz is not happy with the call. He felt McMillan pushed him off onto the side, and he took the flop from there, but he moved it with the body. And anytime you try to move laterally with someone and draw the contact, it's a foul. Is on this play, you have to really try to stop the ball, and he tried to stop with him, and that's how he drew the foul.
Seven-point Hofstra lead. Let's look at that.
And he came up the sideline, and he fouled him before the push-off, and on something like that, the referee got it right.
McMillan in a double bonus. DeJuan McMillan has only sat for 30 seconds of this game. And he's able to knock down the first. His shooting numbers at just 3 of 10 with the 9 points. But again, the box score will not do justice at the end of this game to his effort.
Oh, he's done everything you possibly could have asked for to step up. I think he came out for 1 minute in this game, and he's had to play we call Iron Man basketball.
And particularly the defense he had to play on Machado. Smythe, contested three, a little off. Rebound Imes, and McMillan will handle. DeJuan McMillan, 10 points, 9 assists. And Iona is going to back up rather than full court pressure.
Now clock becomes a factor here. You want to move the ball, get everybody some touches, get some good looks at the basket, just like that.
David Imes, 16 points, a double-double, and Hofstra's lead up to 11. 4 Hofstra players into double figures. They put 5 in double figures their last game against Colgate, as Jones fouled on the attack.
Jones got to the basket, got fouled on the outside before the shot, but Jones is really getting some great looks at getting inside to the basket.
A 1-and-1 here for Momo Jones. Jones has been the facilitator here in the second half for Iona. He's got 13 of his 17 here. When the Gales have needed him, he has not been the problem. And Tim Klutz is asking him for his leadership as well this season to go along with this great mix of veterans.
Tim Klutz bringing in some size now for the rebounding factor and really getting back. And they want to start to dump the ball down a little bit more. Glover is the recipient of a few alley-oops, but really not being a factor on the block. And you got to credit Mo Caceres' defense for that.
McMillan, and the Gales trying not to foul him. And they pester McMillan, and he does incredible work to cross the timeline. We come up on 1:30 to play. Iona here in the double bonus, so it doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense to foul. It is a 9-point game, 3 possessions. McMillan into Smythe, who picked up the block. And Glover forging ahead. Jones, a tough 2. Thought he was fouled. Kone lost the rebound. DeZouvre also blocked picked up by Imes. Here is Moore pushing, numbers for the Pride, off for Kone, and this one, he jams!
And a 3-on-1 executed to perfection. Mike Moore running the break, trailing is Kone for the slam.
That might be the period at the end of the sentence that Kone used with an exclamation. Jones to the line as some head for the exits.
Offensive execution at its best. Mike Moore making terrific decisions in transition for Kone. Kone really gets up, and I love the way Kone runs the floor at his size. As a freshman, he's been asked to grow up quickly.
Under a minute left. David Imes, his first career double-double, rather I should say season first double-double, as Jones able to knock down the first. All 7 Hofstra scholarship players have scored. And Jones will have one more. And he cuts it again to 9. Well, some of the crowd here recognizing the margin. And Hofstra may need another couple of free throws as Moore is going to use a timeout with under 41 seconds left.
And he recognized he was in trouble on that double team and wisely called timeout to allow him to set up. And what a game for Nathaniel Lester, coming up big once again in the second half, and he just finds a way and showing no intimidation whatsoever and taking it right to the basket and knocking him down from the outside. Nathaniel Lester showing why he needs to emerge as a leader for this Hofstra ball club as they start to move to the CAA conference play.
You can sense, Scott, in the Colgate postgame press conference, especially Dwan McMillan, even though they didn't say it much, but they mentioned Iona without being prompted. And players like Nathaniel Lester, Mike Moore, Dwan McMillan, the 3 seniors, you could sense, particularly off last year's kind of sloppy loss up in New Rochelle, this game meant a lot more to them than many other games.
It does, and you know, even when they brought it up last time, they didn't show any intimidation from it. They felt that they could play with them. It's just a matter of them all coming together as one.
And to do it as an undermanned bunch, Iona not fouling here. And now Jones fouls more, so he'll head to the free throw line. And for Mo Cassara, when you think about this, he admitted after last year's game that he felt for the first time, only time, his team was outplayed and also outcoached by a wonderful coach in Tim Cluis, who's going to win a lot more games. But for a rookie coach that day, he felt he had some things to learn. Well, today, his response individually has been one.
It really has, and you got to credit Mo Cassara for really challenging his team on how they handle adversity with people down, people injured, and who could step up. And he comes in with the follow of no excuses. We're here to play with everybody.
And in the New York City basketball circles, as the Zouvre goes in, and he'll have an N1 with 21 and a half left. That's the 5th foul on David Imes, who otherwise is going to exit with an incredible effort. Imes will finish with 16 points. That is a new season high. And 15 rebounds, also a season high for Imes, just as Hofstra needed him the most.
David Imes really came up big in both halves. And even when Iona seemed to have gone on those runs, David Imes was right there to come up with a big play.
It's his season high in boards, too. And don't also underestimate the significance a game like this does. And for the coaching staffs, it is a major rivalry in recruiting. Iona was able to get, of course, with other teams in the mix, Mike Glover and Momo Jones away from Hofstra. So you know this is just setting the stage for the future. And when people go online and check out the scores around the country, this is going to stand out.
Absolutely will. This really does become a big game. And, you know, every time Hofstra looks back at it, they're going to look back. And, you know what? They still have to finish this game. There's 21 and a half seconds left.
Randy DeZouvre will shoot free throw for a potential and one.
You know what, Ralph, at this point, you start to question, do you try to miss this free throw on purpose and try to get another possession?
Well, what could they be looking at here? Perhaps the clock? And perhaps the clock did not stop on the foul when DeZouvre went in. So there could be some extra time here for Iona. So we'll have to see. Brian Dorsey, Donnie Eppley, and John Hughes, our officials here, to try to check it out on the monitors by the scores table. So DeZouvre is going to have to wait before the free throws.
And if you're a coach, you're Mo Cassera right now, sitting here with this little bit of a lead in 21 seconds. You don't want to be stopping the clock. You want to get to zeros. You want this game to be over. And what appears to happen here, it looks like on the layup, the clock didn't stop even after the whistle was blown on the foul.
Well, they just gave an explanation to Timmy Kloos. The clock does not change, so it stays at 21 and a half. And DeZouvre converts a three-point play. So Iona is within 7, still a 3-possession game. And they are not fouling more, which is surprising. Leicester has it, and now they foul Leicester, but 6 seconds came off the clock.
They let way too much time come off the clock. If you're gonna foul, you foul immediately. They didn't want to foul more because he's a terrific free throw shooter, but you know, you got to give him a chance, and 7 seconds elapsed from the clock.
That's the 5th foul on Kyle Smythe in his return to the lineup for Iona at 12 points on 4 threes. And they were all pressure cooking shots. So Nathaniel Lester will shoot 2 free throws for Hofstra. One thing Hofstra was able to do when you look back at this game, Scott, they were able to get into the bonus for an undermanned team. You worry about the fouls in Mo Cassera yourself. And instead it was the Gales that had the foul trouble that, at least for today, made a big difference.
Well, they had a really sloppy offense, and when you have a sloppy offense, you become a sloppy defensive team, and you start reaching, you don't get into good position, you don't get good rotations on the defensive end, and Hofstra took advantage of every one of those mistakes.
Nathaniel Lester, also an adept free throw shooter at 79%, able to hit the first, a 21-point game for Nathaniel. And while Mike Moore, kind of a known entity with 24 points, it was Lester and Imes that will go down as Jones looking for the and one on a 3. Lester rebounds. It'll be those 2 that add up to a significant win for the Hofstra Pride. One that will raise an eyebrow around the country. 10-2 Iona falls 83-75 here to Hofstra. We'll return with the post-game reaction and final highlights to continue to discuss this one at the MAC on Verizon Fios One Sports. Hofstra and Mo Cassera celebrating with the students that are here during break. A huge win in the tenure of Mo Cassera, 83-75 over Iona. Let's get the reaction now with Eva.
Ralph, thanks. I've got Mo Cassera and David Imes here. David, 16 points, 15 rebounds. It's your first career double-double, and both of those are season highs. What was working so well for you out there tonight?
It was just, I came with a different mentality. After the Colgate game, I used that as a confidence booster. And today I just came with the same mentality as, like, the only way we're going to win this game is if I get under and get dirty and rebound the ball.
A great crowd here tonight, too, even though it's the winter break. How much did that help you and your teammates out?
It helped a lot. That was a 6-man, and we appreciate everybody for coming out.
All right, David, congratulations on a great one. And, Coach, I know we talked about him at halftime, but is there anything else to add about this guy?
I'm just so proud of him. He's just a great kid, and he's worked so hard. Went through a stretch of time where he didn't play real well, and he's never stopped working in practice, and that's the real key to us being good. We've strung some good practice together, and a lot of credit goes to his attitude and effort.
Iona started to make a comeback in the second half. What did you say to the guys to make sure that you stayed focused and held on tonight?
We just have to play harder. You know, I just said we have to play harder, and Iona's a very good team. They're a terrific team, and they make a run. And I said, hey, they made the run. We got to lock down. We got to get stops and play defense, and our energy and effort was terrific tonight.
And Coach, even though you're undermanned, you're able to come out and beat this Iona team on the heels of what's the big heart of your conference games this year. What does it mean for this team tonight?
Confidence, excitement. What a great crowd tonight. You know, I love being out here in front of these fans, and I'm so happy the way our team played tonight.
All right, Coach, congratulations. David, congratulations. Ralph?
Certainly from Okasara, you can almost sense the trembling of his voice about how thrilled he was and how proud of his 7 scholarship players to pull out a huge win that they're going to be talking about in the metro area for a long time. 83-75 the final. We're coming back with some post-game reaction and highlights from us on Verizon Fios One Sports. Still buzzing here inside the Max Sports Complex as Hofstra comes away with an 83-75 win over the Iona Gales here in Hempstead. Our postgame being brought to you by Watch ESPN. It's the ESPN Network. It's now live in your smartphone, tablet, and computer. Go to Verizon.com/Fios TV online for details. Again with Scott Green, Ralph Bednarczyk. They continue to talk about it. They probably will for at least several other weeks as we look at our final highlights, Scott Green. For Hofstra, it looked like there was a couple times where they might run out of gas, but they filled up a few times.
Well, they did an exceptional job playing with the lead today and getting it early, and it looked like Iona